Zim News. My name is Tolisani Ngube. We continue with discussing about the CAPE 3, which is a constitutional amendment bill in Parliament, as well as a contestation that is in the courts, where there are people who are trying or fighting to have CAPE 3 scrapped or even stopped. And so in Parliament next week or in a very few weeks to come, it will be under discussion by our MPs. Today, to help us dissect and as well as unpack it in a better way, we have Goodson Nguni. He is the chairperson of the Federation of Non-Government Organization, also known as FONGO. He is also a former ZACC commissioner and an activist who supports ZANU-PF, by the way, to help us understand what CAPE 3 means for Zimbabweans and its implication on the country. Mr. Nguni, thank you very much for joining us on All Zim News, and welcome.
Thank you.
Let's begin here. What is CAPE 3 in short? In your view, what does it do to Zimbabweans?
First of all, CAPE 3 are the views of a section of Zimbabweans who support a political party called ZANU-PF. And the constitution of this country recognizes that political parties are the ones who decide what happens in parliament. That's why the constitution talks about party whips, talks about a winning party, and so on. So the members of that party decided they wanted to change the cycle of elections. Not this nonsense that people are talking, that we are talking about an extension of the president's term. We are changing the cycle of elections. And the people we are going to do it in parliament, where the representatives of millions of people who voted in the last election are.
You talk about changing the cycle of an election. What is the motivation behind it? Definitely it can't be just somebody's dreaming, It has a basis for it. What could be the basis for it?
The basis for that is that ZANU-PF has done a lot of projects which have never been done by any other president. Secondly, there are people who have done a lot of nice things in Zimbabwe. The president has done a very good job as far as ZANU-PF members are concerned, and a lot of other Zimbabweans think so too, internationally too. So they wanted to change the cycle of elections from 5 years to 7 years. And let me just clarify something. Nobody has said that this thing is going to extend the term of President Mnangagwa. We are saying any president who comes in is going to be the beneficiary. Now, let's not be drawn into thinking that it's only about Mnangagwa's extension. It's not. We are extending the cycle of elections so that a president is a longer time. And we are not alone in this. There are many countries in the world that have that cycle.
You speak of the president has done a lot. Just give me 5 things that you can come to your mind quickly to say Mnangagwa, because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Therefore, it is justified to extend or justified to give him a longer stay in office. Not use the word, maybe let me leave the word extend for now. Give him a longer stay in office so that he can do the project that you spoke about.
The first thing is that he saved this country from the MDC. We have people who are agents of imperialism who are trying to come into government. He stopped them. The MDC is a bad news party. They only thrive when something is going wrong. He has made them keep quiet now. They are in 6s and 7s because he has done a lot of great projects. He has increased the hospitals that are in the country, clinics that have been built, schools that have been built, roads that have been built, big buildings. Zimbabwe is a major construction country.
Just name 2. Just name 2.
I've already mentioned 7.
Okay.
The new airports, these are good things that have happened, and he's given us, this president has given us a right to be proud about our country because of these projects. And the economic conditions have grown up. There's no shortages of foreign currency. When there was a problem of money, he fixed it up. If Mugabe was still there, we're not going to fix it up. So there are many things that I could say that have been done by this president. But more importantly, it is the right of members of ZANU-PF political party to decide if they want him as president first, then go to the people in an election. And you must not take the right away from members of ZANU-PF for the opposition, which has lost support in this country, to determine that they can send out a ZANU-PF president. They don't want him anymore. They're fighting for other people to take over ZANU-PF as a political party.
Let's begin. We'll talk about the politics aspect later on. Let's begin about the issue of the economy. By and large, the buying power in Zimbabwe is eroded. Today, you need a civil servant can't even afford from his salary to earn a decent living. Civil servants were earning before Emmerson Mnangagwa came into office around $500 with a buying power which was able to take them to. Yes, money was not there. They paid this when they were very erratic, but the money they were supposed to be earning had a value. Today, you can't afford to make the same. You can't budget. Talk about the roads. The main big road we talk about is the Mashungo Road. It was begun under Robert Mugabe era. Airport was begun under Robert Mugabe era. Emmerson Mnangagwa took over and continued. Why should a progress be prescribed to an individual and not to a party?
First of all, let me tell you, it is you who are attempting to say that we are extending Mnangagwa's term. I told you, the CAB 3 does not talk about extending Mnangagwa's presidency. CAB 3, don't run away from this fact, is talking only about an election cycle. You are trying to give it the impression that we are only extending Mnangagwa's presidency. We are not. We are saying any president in future who comes in is going to have 7-year term. That's our decision. And that is the right of Zimbabweans who are members of ZANU-PF to propose that.
But there has to be a basis. We heard that there has to be a basis for that. It can't just be because the people have feelings. So in 3 years' time to come, I come into office, by God's grace, I'll be 40 by then. I come into office by mere sheer of my own political power. I say, we're going to run as a president for 2 years. Is that how things ought to be run like?
No. The democracy demands that people who are citizens of a country have a right to propose an issue to their parliament. And if that political party wants to change the constitution, I will show later how this constitution, what is happening now, has been done before. That people who are citizens can make changes to their way they are governing. Trump wanted a third term. He said so. There are many people who wanted to have a third term, but he says we don't want a third term right now. Our CAB 3 is not about the third term. We don't want a third term. We're not talking about a third term. You are the ones who are trying to force us into thinking that Mnangagwa wants a third term. He does not want a third term. He has not said so. And he's not going to have a third term.
We agree there's no third term. You want to extend or you want to change when people vote.
Yes.
You want to change when people vote.
Yeah.
I'm yet to be convinced as to what is motivating that. Is there anything to say because of A, B, C, D, therefore we think we must change when people vote? Because it's not about an individual, let's agree, and it ought not be about Mnangagwa. Because if it's about Mnangagwa, then it's another problem. It ought to be about a posterity. Yeah. What is it that is causing us to change when people vote?
It's very simple. First of all, I told you it's the democratic right of any political party to make any proposals to how we are governed, and they can make changes. In South Africa, they make changes every day. In Britain, they also change. In America, they change all over the world. Except only it appears only in Zimbabwe. That's why you're saying you don't want changes, because you are looking at regime change. Now, it is up to us. We see good things in what Mnangagwa has done. We are looking at things that we might. I told you the MDC is a bad news party. If everything is bad, you will never hear Chamisa talking about good things, saying, let's change this, we want to create employment, we want to empower people, we want to empower them. They don't talk about that. They talk only about bad news, about what they think ZANU-PF is doing and not doing. Now, we are different. We see a lot of benefits in having a continuation of what is happening right now. We are happy with it. And the democratic way for people to respond to that is for people who don't like what ZANU-PF is doing to say, we'll meet you at the next elections. We will vote for another political party and make the laws to change and undo what you did. That's how you respond to democratic.
But definitely, hence we've got a 5-year tenure to say after 5 years, if ZANU-PF has done good, let's give them another 5 years, another 5 years. By the way, Robert Mugabe enjoyed these 5 years since 1987 when we had the first change to executive president. He has been enjoying that. So what is it that is motivating us to say, let's move from 5 years to 7?
I don't want to continue talking about that. I've told you, we in ZANU-PF, we see good things. You might not see them yourself. For example,
Make me see them. Make me see
there's
them.
no time here for me to explain to you that.
No, we have the time. We can have time to do. It's important
For
people
example,
understand.
You talk about the Beitbridge road being started by Mugabe. I want to tell you that Mugabe was looking at us getting $2.4 billion from Australian contractors to build that. But that contract was cancelled by this president, and local companies were given an opportunity and empowered and paid it early so that they could make the roads. And they made the roads. That is empowerment. There's no foreign money that is involved in this road. We did it ourselves. That is one thing good about this president. You are talking about some things that were started by Mugabe before he left.
The airport.
The airport.
Still, the Chinese have done it, and it's still even now this government, it's the Chinese who did it.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say to you is that we in ZANU-PF, we see good things. We see more schools being built. We've seen more clinics in the rural areas being built. We've seen more production. The people are being empowered. We have seen that. You might not see that because you don't want to see that. You are looking at regime change. Everybody in this country who is opposed to ZANU-PF for whatever reason are looking at this constitution as a way of achieving regime change. You wanted to use this year to send our good leaders. Maybe you are looking for bad leaders to take over ZANU-PF so you can beat us at elections.
We talk about Mugabe being a bad leader until he was moved from power. So realized Mnangagwa is better. What about the next president who is going to come? Will be far much better than Mnangagwa. What will you say? How will we know that? Until Mugabe left the dance floor, we saw Mnangagwa's capabilities. Don't you think at the same time that's the essence of having a 5-year, so that other person can come in and you can see their capacities?
But really, 5 years, 7 years, so what? If any government that comes in, they change laws there without asking the people, should we change this law? Those MPs can change any law in this country. Even if there was a referendum in this country, they would still have to go and take the referendum results to Parliament to change the law and the Constitution. But the reason why all of you are focusing on this was you think you can use this Constitution to remove ZANU-PF from power. You're not going to succeed.
What's better about removing ZANU-PF from power? That's his sense of democracy. ZANU-PF do not have title deeds for this country. They are a contestant like any other.
Okay.
Democracy demands that if ZANU-PF's policies are not good at that present moment, they're kicked out.
Yeah,
That's democracy.
But what I'm saying to you is this. I told you the MDC is a bad news party. Secondly, I told you that one of the major achievements of Mnangagwa is that he killed the ambitions of agents of imperialism who are members of CCC, the Tendai BTs of this world, Monzoras of this world who are fighting for white commercial farmers. They are not going to come to power because their policies are not popular with anybody. So he gave us the right to have our own country. We are not scared of an election. We are going to have it after 7 years, and we want specifically the agenda that Mnangagwa has given this country to continue for another 2 years. I must remind you, he himself has said when his time comes up, he's going to leave. Because he understands that this constitution is not about him. It is about future leaders as well.
Definitely, that's what ought to be what governance is all about.
Yeah. So after you must wait until another 2 years. There can be an election, and people must then say, when we come to power in 2030, we'll change what ZANU-PF has done. That is how democracy works. If the Democrats are supporting a particular action, when the Republicans come to power, they change them. But you are scared to do that because you'll never come to power. Because the agenda, when I say you, I don't mean you.
I understand.
But because the agenda that the opposition in this country has is in an opposition to take us back to Rhodesia. And the last time when there was Rhodesia, people who were linked to Rhodesia were in power, there was a civil war. We will never accept to be taken back to Rhodesia by anybody linked to CCC or MDC. And I hope there are all veterans out there who are listening to this here, if they see a member of a Rhodesian party like CCC supporting them, it means there's something wrong with them. And we will not allow it.
Maybe. Let's say ZANU-PF, through its people, have made a request to say, let's have Mnangagwa stay for 2 years. Yeah. That's fair and fine. Did the ZANU-PF same people say we don't want to vote for the president directly? Is that part of the agreement that came from the conferences, or is somebody now who wants to say we no longer want the president to be voted directly?
No. I want you to behave like a person who's educated where you are.
Definitely.
I know
Yes.
you are educated. When a person votes for the MP, and the MP is belonging to ZANU-PF, and if you have seen the ZANU-PF constitution, it says the president of ZANU-PF will be the president in an election in this country. It's the same thing. If you vote for an MP who is ZANU-PF, you are voting for a president who is ZANU-PF.
But
Because you can't vote for 3/4 of MPs, they are ZANU-PF, then you vote for a triple C president. How will you make laws in parliament?
But still, ZANU-PF resolutions, both in 2014, in 2024 and 2025, had no discussion about removing direct vote of the president. It spoke about giving the president an extra 2 years. Where did this idea to remove direct voting come from?
Let me tell you something. When ZANU-PF decided that they were going to have Mugabe as an executive president with increased powers, there was no referendum. They didn't ask the people. They simply voted in parliament and changed it. The constitution of this country, the current constitution, allows these people to make laws for good governance in this country. It is up to the winning party that is in parliament to decide what laws to put in. When we are making laws about empowerment, about women, more increasing number of MPs who are women, we don't go back to the people to ask them. We expect that they voted for ZANU-PF, they expect ZANU-PF to do the correct thing. And that's exactly what we are doing. But you want to use this constitution to remove ZANU-PF from power. You want to use this constitution to determine who should be the president of ZANU-PF for whatever reason. And because of that, members in ZANU-PF will never accept.
Same way as the ZANU-PF has used the same constitution and the same system to cement the opposition. So that's politics, by the way. But the critical question is, somebody somewhere, don't you feel like, or don't you think you are trying to run away from this fear, based on empirical evidence, to say, since Robert Mugabe's departure, ZANU-PF presidential candidates have fared badly in elections compared to the party itself. So in the process, let's try to hide them, because ZANU-PF does not have a democratic system inside itself to choose its leaders. They are imposed on them, and when they go to the vote, they perform badly compared to the party itself. Don't you feel that? That's the thinking coming on people.
Well, that's in MDC and Triple C, Chamisa and Monzora themselves impose people. Chamisa and themselves are undemocratic in themselves. So what you are saying now, it applies, according to you, to ZANU-PF. It also applies to Triple C and to everybody else.
Definitely, any political party which imposes its people,
But
the party can be popular than the leader.
Yeah. Triple C does that. For example, in Bulawayo, during the primary elections for mayor, Coulthard was number 3. Chamisa came and said, we are not going to allow Ndlovu was number 1 to become the MP. We want a white guy. And they put in Coulthard. That's what they did. What I'm saying to you, when everything is said and done, it is the representatives of the people who are in parliament who are the final custodians of the wishes of these people. For example, 1.7 people voted for in the last referendum. The parliamentary population was about 17 million. So what we are being told now, 1.7 million who voted to say they wanted this new constitution, they are more important than the 15 million who didn't vote in that referendum. But that's what you are now telling us.
Nobody, say don't vote. It's their right not to vote.
So it's also the right of people who are elected here to decide what laws to put in, because the constitution allows them to do so.
But they only cost at 1.7 million. That's about a tenth of this country. But here, fate is being decided by less than 500 people.
But I must tell you also, the people who vote for MPs understand that the MPs must work with the president. And they also know that if I vote for ZANU-PF, I'm voting for the ZANU-PF president to be the president. So we are not separating the votes. That's what I told you. You are going to hear from me things that people are not talking about. This is a very important point. There are no votes that are being taken away from people. No.
People are being allowed to vote.
There's no way where it says that, nowhere in the Constitution does it say that you can't change the governing structure. Nowhere does it say that. For example, in the past, Mugabe was prime minister, not chosen by the people. He had executive power. He was chosen in parliament. Nobody complained. Then he decided, we are now changing that to a presidential election. He never went back to the people. They voted in parliament and changed that.
What was the reason behind that change?
Whatever reason there was. But this is what happened. So now what I'm saying to you is, why is it at this time you are attempting to give power which parliament is at different times have rejected? You are doing it now because you think you want to achieve regime change. You want to split ZANU-PF into two. For your information, ZANU-PF is not going to be split into two because of this. We will still beat the opposition. They will still vote for them. And we are not going to change the powers of parliament. The powers of parliament to make laws, to change the constitution, they have them.
Well, as we discuss with Mr. Goodson Nguni, you are very free to come in with comments and as well as questions that you'd want us to pose to Mr. Nguni as we discuss along. Mr. Nguni, let's move at the CAB 3. It also deals fundamentally with issues of chiefs. Chiefs, by and large, who are, I would say, are custodians of our traditional laws and the rules. They are being given a political right to say they must belong to a political party if they so wish. Don't you feel like we are carrying a dangerous divisiveness of politics up down to our people who for long have lived peacefully amongst each other, differently as they are in their diversity?
Yeah, I'm talking to an educated person.
Definitely you are.
Yeah, yes, I know that because I know you are educated. So I want you to think about what I'm going to say to you now.
Yes.
The minute Chief Nyamweda Kwedu Kumusha, you and me,
Yes.
what budget does he control? Nothing. What does he do for the people of Nyamweda? Only for the geographical area called Nyamweda. What power has he got?
He makes he presides over disputes, land disputes, boundary disputes, marital disputes.
And you are aware that after he's made a decision, he's not the court of final arbitration, it's not him. You can appeal what the chief has said to the magistrate's court. From the magistrate's court, you can go to the higher court. The point I'm bringing to you is this. Ministers control budgets and money, and of national importance. They are members of ZANU-PF. Now, they promote, they attend rallies of ZANU-PF, they promote ZANU-PF through and through in their projects. That's what they do. Now, chiefs have no budgets, they have no power, apart from dealing with issues. Now, I want to put it to you, the reason why this was put into the Constitution, that chiefs should not take part in politics, was because the party that had been formed by white people, the MDC, run by Monzora. I told you they negotiated this thing before COPAC. They thought if we remove chiefs, we can be able to go into the rural areas and get the vote. That is the reason why they are upset.
So chiefs are not acting as prefects in rural areas for ZANU-PF.
ZANU-PF is simply saying here, we don't want to disentangle, disengage, and disempower any Zimbabweans and discriminate against them because they are chiefs. We're saying every Zimbabwean has a right to be a politician in their own rights. But we'll control, if you abuse your powers, we'll control that in an act of parliament. That's what we are saying. So, and you're talking to somebody who has just beaten some guy who took Chief Saurombe from Mutare. Fongo got involved in that litigation. We won the case in the High Court about Chief Saurombe, because he had said that Mnangagwa must rule forever. We won. Fongo was involved in that matter. We don't want you to abuse chiefs.
But but Mr. Nguni, you said you went to court and said this guy should not be telling about people why Mnangagwa should not rule forever, right? And you won in court.
We won the court saying that what this guy was talking nonsense. This guy is a Zimbabwean with rights. He can say whatever he wants to say, his personal view. They go after all, they go and vote.
Chiefs go and vote.
Yeah, yes.
Just like our magistrates or judges, they go and vote.
Yes.
But we have never seen them coming out loudly at rallies and say, "Pambene ZANU-PF, pass let MDC, Pambele MDC, the Triple C." They keep those political rights a secret.
If you are not-
Hold on. The chiefs, you said you want them to exercise their rights. They do so, they vote. What all along has been happening is to respect that they don't, with their office. Because once a chief goes in a political arena, they can be insulted.
All right, I want to ask
How
you.
do you protect that?
I want to ask you something. I want you to be honest. You know Chief Ndweni?
Yes, they are not even doing.
Was he not at the MDC conference in Gweru? I want you to be honest. Chief Ndweni.
Yes, he was there.
Yeah, did he address that meeting?
He addressed it.
How come nobody attacked him? Because when the chief is supporting the opposition, it's okay. But so you want to use the constitution to stop chiefs who support ZANU-PF. But it's okay for Chief Ndweni.
If it's an illegality, we can't condone an illegality whether done by the left or by the right. It's same as Chief Charumbira attends ZANU-PF rally, tells people, let's go and vote for ZANU-PF. Definitely, the thought is simple. There must be a line.
But we are saying everybody, those chiefs who support MDC, that's their democratic right. We must protect it. Those who support ZANU-PF, that's their democratic. We must support it. Like Chief Ndweni, we don't mind him going to this MDC rally. He's fine. He's a Zimbabwean. He's entitled to his views. Right now, he has a movement he has, which is running from London, where he's attacking the ZANU-PF and the president. He does that. So what? But because you want to achieve regime change in this country and you want to use the constitution, we will not have it.
Also, the constitution deals with you are disbanding the rights and the organization that represents women, the Gender Commission, and you put it in the Human Rights Commission. Surely, as a country, we are still far from achieving the best practice in terms of women empowerment. You are killing the baby when you're still crawling.
Okay. I want to show you how empty this debate is for people out there from the opposition. There is no gender commission in Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia. There is no gender commission in Angola. There is no gender commission in Nigeria, in Egypt, in all these countries. What is so special about Zimbabwe? We have said the functions of that thing are going to the Human Rights Commission. Because we believe that gender is part of the human rights discourse. What's wrong with that?
The idea is the Gender Commission's scope was so wide and so full on the plate. Not only human rights, talk about economic empowerment, political rights, and everything.
Everything that the Gender Commission was doing, we don't want to pay people an extra body to be a drain on the fiscus. The Human Rights Commission will take that function. That's what we said. We are not taking down anything. Everything that they were doing will be done by the Human Rights Commission. And I've just given an example. I said, out of 54 countries, only 8 countries have gender commissions. Zimbabwe is one of them. So what?
But if Zimbabwe is doing well and they're doing well, so should we deprive ourselves of excellence because
What do you mean?
Zambia doesn't have it?
What do you mean Zimbabwe is doing very well?
We
We want a gender commission that says that lies and says that people have been raped by Magaya, going to arrest Magaya. That's what they were doing, instead of promoting women in media, promoting women and saying they must be promoted. We have a gender commission that has been captured by the opposition to do things that are to mobilize them. I told you the MDC is a bad news party. They want to look for people. They want to use those commissions. They wanted to use them to help the opposition where they have no say. We can't have a commission that behaves like that gender commission that was being run by those people, where they go and look for people who they say, to say the person has been raped, so go and arrest so-and-so, go and arrest so-and-so. So-and-so is having an affair with another woman, go and investigate that. We don't want that. We want a full gender commission that talks about real issues. And if they become part of human rights, we're actually upgrading them. That's what we believe. And you know what? It is up to the executive branch of government to decide the government structures. The state of Zimbabwe in the constitution is built around the president. He decides what kind of commissions to put in, what kind of ministries to have. That is what is happening. I'm surprised that there are people fighting that the president who has got powers to do anything, but he mustn't have powers to change the governance structures of the country. The power is given to him by the Constitution.
In short, you are saying that he has failed to rein in on the current gender commission. Rather, instead of reining on them, he's rather say, let's close shop.
No, I
and
don't know.
transfer.
I don't know his reasons, but what I do know, I have seen shortcomings in the Gender Commission as it was constituted.
Why not strengthen it as
But
opposed
we
to close
we are
shop?
strengthening it by giving them broader powers. The human rights commissioners were all part-time. Maybe in the new commission they will all be full-time because of the increased responsibilities. But people are looking for ways of attacking the extension of power by ZANU-PF. You are looking at trying to use the constitution to curb the power and influence that we have. That's all, not the good things that we can do. Because you haven't shown me where the Human Rights Commission is failed, because they've not even failed. Don't forget, there was not always a gender commission. Gender commission. It was not always there. It is a new thing.
Definitely, an idea to say let us empower women who for long have been marginalized,
And we are going
directly or indirectly, willingly or unwillingly.
Don't forget that it was ZANU-PF that brought in MPs, ZANU-PF alone, not the Human Rights Gender Commission. They never lobbied us to say, can we have women proportional representation for women? No, it is us who did it. It was a ZANU-PF policy. It is ZANU-PF policy to make sure that women are empowered. It is ZANU-PF policy so that women are not abused, to change the laws, to make sure that it's easy to bring people who commit rape.
And there was this gender commission there
Created
to
by
advance,
ZANU-PF.
to
Created by-
educate, to promote
It was
women
created
rights.
by who?
Now being,
It was created by ZANU-PF government. Do you agree?
well, those have been
agree?
in power. Those have been in power.
Yeah. So if we created it, and we now want to give the power to the Human Rights Commission, why are you telling us that we cannot do that when we created it?
But then the question is simple. Is it not about you are hating individuals who are there, and instead of dealing with individuals, you would rather close shop for it?
No, we are not. There is no individual in Gender Commission that is at war with ZANU-PF. No. There's no one.
Or maybe their shortcomings or the lack of a proper legal system around them, which you are failing to address.
There's no problem between ZANU-PF and the Gender Commission as currently constituted. May not been told the reasons, but any Zimbabwean has the right to say we don't need an anti-corruption commission because we have the police. We must have anti-corruption commission. That's up to any Zimbabwean to say that. And if people in ZANU-PF think that we should leave the powers to Human Rights Commission and give them more powers to do that, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Also, we are going back to having the voters' roll being run by the Registrar General. Yes. The reasons that it was moved from there were better known and were very clear. There was an issue. The voters' roll is part and parcel of an election. An election is run by an independent commission. Now you want to take it back to the executive to control a section of an election.
Can I correct you? There's going to be a commission that's going to be formed called the Delimitation Commission.
To do with the boundaries.
It is going to be, listen to me, it is going to be an independent commission like Gender Commission, like Anti-Corruption Commission.
You do the boundaries.
Yes.
But now I'm talking about voters' roll, which you want to take it back to the registrar's office to say ZACC can't manage the voters' roll. Give it to the registrar. When we know very well, Tubayomde and his crew, there were questions and the regimes of questions of elections surrounded around that office. We are going back to that.
You know what? The opposition attack the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. They accuse them of being pro-ZANU-PF. But they are the ones who are doing exactly what you are saying currently. But they accuse them of being ZANU-PF. But now you are accusing ZANU-PF of putting people who are dead onto the voters' roll. The people at the Registrar Generals are the people who know who's dead because they issue death certificates. They know who's born. Maybe we want to change the voting to say everybody when they are born, as soon as they become 18, they are put on the voters' roll. We can also do that. It's up to us, those who are in the executive branch, to say maybe that's what we want to do. So we think that it is the right place to put them, right there, where the Registrar of Deaths and Births.
But there were problems there. The problems centered around transparency, accountability. In terms of, there was a lot of secrets there. What was removed from them to ZACC, the idea is let the person in charge of an election not cry foul of anything, be in charge of the entire process.
But I must also tell you that the ZACC has not complained. They have not said. If I'll tell you now, it was ZACC who actually asked the government to say that this function, we don't have the staff. Can we take it back to where it should be, and let us get the thing done properly by another body? But also, I must also tell you that the opposition has been accusing ZACC of being partisan. You know that.
Yeah, well, that's
So
the
how
story.
come suddenly the body that you're saying is partisan, suddenly you want them back? Why?
But as a country, if you hate an individual, don't hate the system. You better mark a person as opposed to mark the game. The opposition, in my view, are saying ZACC not as an institution, but individuals manning ZACC are a problem. The laws at ZACC, the policies at ZACC are good, but people are given the task. Therefore, you can't solve because Chigumba and Laikwana and the team, they've got issues.
Do you agree it is that people's representatives are found in parliament?
Definitely they are.
Do you agree?
Yes, they are.
Do you agree also that the people who in the rural areas, when they vote for ZANU-PF, they also know that the president of ZANU-PF, that has been the practice, will become the president of the country? Do you agree?
Definitely. That's because they've been voting directly. They've been voting for Mugabe or Mnangagwa directly, not through an MP.
No, just hold on. Do you agree that before this was, after the war, do you agree that the president was voted for by parliamentarians?
He was.
First, it was.
Yes. But why
I'm
was
asking you
they
another
changed?
question. I'm asking you another question. Because it's important. You're asking me, I'm also asking you.
Let's dialogue.
Yeah. So that at that time, nobody complained that why are you voting for a prime minister after a war? Why are you voting for a prime minister in parliament, not directly voted for us? You agree there was nobody who complained?
Assume, but
you agree?
Nobody complained, but nobody complained.
We
But after the look of things, probably if you read history, the idea was we went to war for one man, one vote. Everybody must vote for the person they want, from up to down, from the president, the MP, the councillor.
Why is
but now we're not changing now.
Yeah, but no. But
Why would you want to have?
When we started Zimbabwe, when we began this journey, people didn't vote for the head of state. Do you agree?
People were advancing, I would say, in terms of their political rights were being empowered slowly.
So you are saying slowly they were changing, then they were maturing, and then they were changing.
And now
so
we're not going back to before.
So you agree that the Constitution is a live document. It changes. Just like you are saying that the people allowed it in 1980, but as they improved their political understanding, they now wanted one man, one vote on the president. That's what you are saying.
That's what
we are saying as members of ZANU-PF, we want to go back to MPs voting what we think. And if the people are not happy, what they should do is vote ZANU-PF outside. I'm not saying they should vote for ZANU-PF out. They must vote for ZANU-PF out and then change the law. That's what happens in a democracy. Don't you agree?
Okay, you are saying that. Why don't you do this, Mr. Nguni, to say, Zimbabweans, we as ZANU-PF want to implement this. Here is the question: do you want the president to be voted by us MPs, by the 200 of us, 210 of us, plus 100 senators, to decide who's going to be your president?
All right.
Or you want you to determine? Why don't you take that question to them through a referendum?
All right. Now look, it is a debatable issue about whether the Constitution says there must be a referendum. Let me give you a good example. 3 law students qualify from the university with the law degrees. One becomes a prosecutor, one becomes a magistrate, one becomes a defense lawyer. They are defending somebody. There's somebody who's saying you committed an offense. Do you agree there will be 3 different views of this matter?
Definitely there will be.
There will be.
Yes.
So now, there is nothing in this Constitution that says to us that limits the power of the Parliament to change the election cycle. Show me where it says that.
No, we agree that the Constitution, Mr. Nguni, is not a cast in stone. It's not a sacrosanct thing. It's a living document. We breathe it. We live it. If we want to change based on our feelings, we can change. But it is also a process to that effect.
But then I'm trying to tell you that in the past, whenever we made changes, we did not go and ask the people. We allowed the executive branch. And over the years, each time when if they start passing laws that we don't like, in a democracy, what do? If a party comes into power and they're passing laws that you don't like, what do the people do? They vote against it, and they ask the people who have come to power to change the laws. And now, because you are not Democrats, because you are thugs in politics, in the CCC and the opposition members, you are saying when it's convenient for you, it is okay for the Constitution to do this. When it's not convenient for you, you don't want it to do certain things because they are not helping your cause. When Mugabe took powers as executive president, we never asked anybody in a referendum, do you want a prime minister with executive powers? We just changed it on our own. Everybody accepted it. And the opposition fought in elections for that position of president.
So
Let me give you another example. There was a time when we put into parliament people who were not elected by anybody and gave them senior position to run government. We never got permission from the powers. Who are those people? We gave Chamisa the prime ministership of this country without the authority, and he had executive powers, without the authority of the people who had voted in the election. We never asked anybody.
Morgan
Tsvangirai, sorry.
Yes.
And then secondly, we gave people who were not elected by those people cabinet positions. Nobody complained. You say that's the power of parliament to change, and we changed in parliament. Why this time you want to change? You are trying to say, no, you can't do that. It is because you want to use the Constitution. I've made this allegation to you many times, that the Constitution was written before COPAC by two people. One hated Mugabe because he was part of a white man's party called the MDC, and one of them was part of Lacoste. They wanted to remove this old man. So they negotiated, and they went to their principals for final authority. Then they came to the people and lied that the people have said they want two-term president. They want this. They never said so.
But
and we are going
question was put to them to say, do you want a two-term president? People voted yes.
Yes, but because they were following their parties. We are going to court, Fongo, for the Constitutional Court to address the issue of how the people were doing it by two dead people into saying that they had said the two-term president. And we want to challenge Monzora and Mangwana to tell us where the people in the majority said they wanted two-term. They never said so.
So you would want... are we not creating another Mugabe in Mnangagwa? What will stop Mnangagwa from changing again requesting for 2 more years? Come 2030, he says, no, comrades, I'm still fit and firm. I can still run this show. This project I'm running, not yet done. Let's go for 2035.
Mnangagwa never said, I'm doing a good job. Give me 2 more years. He never did that.
But people...
Politics. But it's the democratic right of Zimbabweans, you and me, to propose changes to where the government, where it's our right.
Same as the right was to object.
To object is, I agree
with
you.
And the call for, let us vote and let us hear who has got a more voice.
Now, about the voting, no, there is no clause in that constitution that says that if you want to change the cycle of elections, you must go back to the people.
It's a question that is an interpretation to say, are we changing the cycle or extending the term of office? That's a question, because the semantics are almost the same.
Yeah.
Changing a cycle, because definitely, Mr. Nguni and I, went to school. We know very well that a term has got a school term has got 2 months or 2.5 months. We know that. We know the opening day and the closing day are set way before. And when there's a change, definitely it's an extension of a term. We know that.
I want to correct you. If we know that there are 3 terms every year, because of COVID, were there 3 terms in this country?
There are special circumstances then.
Now,
what are the special circumstances?
As far as we are concerned, you must, you know what, we don't want you, when you are in opposition, when you are in a minority, to propose to the majority. And the majority thing is done through an election. We don't choose a government through a referendum. Now, and I'm saying to you, in this constitution, this constitutional court is not going to agree with what nonsense Maduku was saying. We have, Maduku is very lucky that we decided to enter as a joiner in this thing before him. We're going to tell the courts that this man is coming with dirty fingers. He told us that the issue of COPAC was flawed, this constitution was rubbish and I'm not going to take part. Today he picks up people that he calls war veterans and says we are now contesting against this thing here.
Well, we haven't heard anyone argue that they're not veterans. Let's assume they are veterans.
That is why I said, because we're still going to enter this debate. It's still going to come in, and we will make that case that we don't even know if they are war veterans, right? They've not said right now, they've not given us any proof that they are war veterans. They've said they are war veterans.
Just like we have so many people who claim to be war veterans,
Yes.
whose credentials are so questionable.
Yeah.
No, credentials, even behavior, so questionable.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to say to you is this. You must not try to stop ZANU-PF members to say they must not talk about the constitution because it's the most important document. That's nonsense and rubbish. And no ZANU-PF member would take that nonsense. Now, the constitution has got some very good things. ZANU-PF members are not throwing out the constitution, but don't force us to throw out the whole constitution. Because don't force us. Don't threaten us, don't provoke us into changing the whole constitution because there's some good things. You can't keep us shouting. There are millions of people in ZANU-PF. If we called a rally here today to say, bring in all the provinces, there will be 20, 30,000 people at each rally for ZANU-PF. Those people have a right and they speak through their members of parliament.
They speak through the members of parliament.
Yes.
The biggest question then comes in, Mr. Nguni. The next question is, why do you want as well as to remove the selection of judges to put it on the president? Are you not creating an executive, an all-powerful executive president?
I told you, you're confirming what I'm saying to you. I said you are using the constitution in your defense for regime change.
Instead of creating institutions that are stronger and not an individual.
What you just said now confirms what we are saying in ZANU-PF. That you want to use the constitution for regime change.
Robert
Because
Mugabe was all gold in Zimbabwe. Was the almighty God.
Let me tell you, in America, Trump nominates who becomes a judge. In Britain, the people who choose a judge are nominated by the party with the majority, the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, right now. In South Africa, Ramaphosa decides who should become. In Zambia, the same story. In Malawi, the president that is won in election does. Why is it that in this country you tell us that the judiciary is captured? That's what the opposition has been telling us all along. Suddenly, the judiciary is not captured anymore. You're saying it's captured by ZANU-PF. Suddenly, it's not captured anymore. You're saying we want to stop the capture of this judiciary by ZANU-PF.
The idea is simple. Let them be subjected to an interview. They're interrogated. They're vetted. Even people have trust, any trust. Justice is not all about being delivered, but must be seen. That's what the law says.
But you are already telling us that the judiciary is captured right now by people who were elected by the system that you are saying must keep the status quo. You are already complaining. I told you, the MDC and CCC are bad news party. The same party that is in the opposition right now, they are saying all judges are tainted, all of them. And then you come to us and say, no, we like that system which allows those judges so that you can continue saying they are tainted.
But Mr. Nguni, let's be realistic in this way. If the president appoints me as a judge, where do my allegiance lie to?
As far as these lawyers are concerned.
No. He appoints me as a judge. Concerning me, we are now a judge.
Loyalty is not. We've never asked any judge to be loyal to the president.
But no.
I want to go.
My instincts.
I want to go with what the Chief Justice said. This honorable lady that we said. She said to me, there are no judges that are captured here. That and the truth of the matter is that ZANU-PF has lost many cases in the High Court. Many cases, not one. There are no judges who are ZANU-PF judges here. But you want to create anti-ZANU-PF judges. That is the reason why you are fighting this thing. You want to create anti-ZANU-PF so you can use the judiciary. That is why this guy, Maduku, he told us that the constitution was flawed, Kopak was useless, this constitution was rubbish. But now he likes it all of a sudden. And he's fighting for it now. The same person who said that. He said it was flawed, the process was no good, ZANU-PF and MDC were conniving to do something that was terrible against the people of Nigeria. He said that. You agree? You know that he said that.
Well, he campaigned against it.
He campaigned against
it. That's in black and white. Not as an individual, But his political party, the National Constitutional Alliance.
But what he's doing now shows us as ZANU-PF members that he wants to create anti-ZANU-PF judges. That is the reason why he's taking the position that he's taking. Because if the judges are not elected, are not going to continue being elected the way they've been elected, then they can't say that the courts are captured.
But we and I agree that if I'm appointed by the president, my allegiance goes to the
No,
president.
I'm not agreeing with you.
Where will my allegiance go to?
You are allegiance to the Constitution, to the rule of law.
If a question,
to the people of
if
Zimbabwe.
a question has come through, I'm appointed by the president, and the president has been subjected to a question here before me. I'm supposed to adjudicate.
Yeah.
My institute tell me I must remember.
But why is
the
it
appointee.
that the opposition members always go to the same judges they allege if they're saying what you are saying?
The idea is very simple because the perception created is that they've been subjected to a process of public interviews based on merit, not based on
Are
allegiance.
you aware that they've attacked some judges on the basis that they are not the ones that should have been chosen? The point I'm trying to say is that the opposition wants to create anti-ZANU-PF judges.
Why not strengthen that process as opposed to abandon it? Just like we abandoning.
As far as we are concerned, as far as our perception, as far as we are concerned, we are strengthening it by what we are doing right now. And we can afford to do that because we have a majority in parliament. People have voted for us to rule, not you, not the opposition.
So one would say you're abusing your majority.
That's what they're saying the ANC is doing in South Africa, the Democratic Alliance, the brothers of CCC and MDC. That's what they say is happening to Chilema in Zambia, that he's abusing his majority. That's what happens in a democracy. The party that is in the minority always accuse the people who are running the government that they are abusing their majority. They accuse Trump of the same thing. The point I'm trying to say to you, you are not Democrats. People who are here, who are attacking this CAP 3, they're not Democrats.
Who are they?
They are agents of imperialism like Tendai Biti and Monzora.
Well,
their job is to bring take us back to Rhodesia.
If you talk about whites and everything like that, Zimbabwe.
Why not? It's my democratic right. It's my perception.
And Mnangagwa, we've seen
I don't know about.
We've seen an appetite to engage the whites. Unfortunately, there's been a rebuff from the other end for whatever reason.
I don't know about that. That's your view. That there's been I'm telling you now that the MDC is a party for white people. That's my view. That's what we say in ZANU-PF. And we will never allow, in our majority, vote for people like Monzora or Tendai Biti. No, we will never. And you know what? These are facts that you must understand. That's why the people in the rural areas, they are very clear. Even in urban areas, they are seeing. They see what the councillors are doing here. They see what CCC in urban areas are doing. Nothing but corruption, downright. And they see all that. They will never vote for them.
Do you think there's democracy in ZANU-PF as a party itself?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
When was the last time the ZANU-PF, a member in Chiwundura cell, branch 1 in Chiwundura district, voted for the president directly in ZANU-PF?
Now, let me tell you, I must tell you about how ZANU-PF elects, how we move. CAP 3 is a good example. It started from the cells, 100 people. They make a resolution. They go to the branch. They make a resolution. They go to the district. The place is getting smaller. They make a resolution about CAP 3. Then they go to the province. You all saw them. Provincial Coordinating Committee, they make a resolution. It was broadcast on ZBC. All the representatives of that, the MPs, Central Committee members, saying, then it goes to the conference where the national chairman of ZANU-PF asked everybody, are all the members in this building supporting amendment number 1 of the Constitution?
So you mean
nobody said anything. So as far as we are concerned, we're showing democracy at play.
Democracy, if you ask one to school, we call it guided democracy, whereby you have to follow this narrow, straight pathway. If you meander out of it, you are out of our way.
That's up to you. That's your perception, and you are free and entitled to say there's guided democracy, and that same democracy.
Same as you are now telling us that they'll be whipped to vote. No MPs will leave their brains outside Parliament building and follow ZANU-PF's statements.
When people are being voted for, people vote for ZANU-PF wherever they voted. First and foremost, they don't vote for the individual. They vote for Nanga, who is a member of ZANU-PF. And the Constitution talks about political parties being in majority or being a minority. They don't talk about individual MPs having rights of their own. That is why the constitution
So
itself.
you mean MPs, by and large, whether opposition or ZANU-PF, they've got no conscience or they've got no thinking capacity?
No, listen. Those in ZANU-PF, as far as I'm concerned, they've got thinking capacity. And
You are telling them to say, no. On CAP 3, please, your mind should be on leave.
But
what should work is only what
I
you
don't
tell
want you to run away from what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm with you.
I've said the constitution does not talk about individual rights of MPs. It talks about the rights of political parties. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's what it is, but it also
Do you
assumes they are
agree?
independent MPs.
No, but not what I'm saying. What is in the constitution?
Yes.
It talks about political parties.
Yes.
It says a political party has got the right to write a letter to the speaker
To recall and sponsor. Yes.
It's sponsored because they are all sponsored by that political party.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's what the constitution says. Now I know the members of ZANU-PF and those members from the opposition who have got any brains will understand that there's nothing wrong with this CAP 3 and they will vote for it. Those who
Why not subject it to a secret vote?
Why in South Africa? Let's go back to best practices. In South Africa, there was a vote of no confidence against Jacob Zuma that was attempted. Was many times against Cyril Ramaphosa. The ANC refused secret ballot. They said no.
Because they fear.
No, I don't know about that.
They fear that
what
people
I
would
know-
revolt.
But they are saying the vote we bring that person here. It's ours. Now in Zambia, they also refuse to have secret ballot. Why do you think that in Zimbabwe we must have secret ballot?
In fact, the Concord in South Africa on Phala said what you did because of this popular majority Mulav.
No, they didn't say that.
No,
They
they said
said
the whole
what they said
parliament
in the judgment.
Yes.
What they said in the judgment is that there was a very good case. They should have set up a committee and done something. They never said secret ballots. They never talked.
Yeah, but it derives from the party, which whipped them to say no, don't go and push for the setting up of an impeachment panel.
What the ANC said is that the MPs who are here don't belong to the MPs. They belong to the ANC as a political party. We will determine what happens. Now, what we are saying to you, we beat the opposition at an election last time around.
Yes.
That's why they don't have any members, and the party is fractured into 20 MDC, 20 triple Cs. In Parliament, using parliamentary rules, and they are not in contention right now. We will vote in Parliament, and we will vote. The people have a right to know who their MP is voting for. You can't have an MP who was voted for by ZANU-PF members in Parliament, but coming they say no, I want MDC, I want an MDC speaker. Then that's why everywhere they say they must be. In America they say those who are saying yeah. In Britain they say those who are saying yeah. They say yeah, and if anybody says no, they deal with them, the political party. That's what we are also doing here.
But
you must accept.
Questions,
There is nothing.
No, nature demands that there is an engagement of consciousness as opposed to an engagement of mobocracy.
What you are saying is this. What you are saying is that you want MPs that are voted for by ZANU-PF or Triple C members, but when they come to Parliament, they decide to do what they want to do, what their conscience tells them to do. No.
If merit, if the person from MDC is a merit, is qualified, can take Zimbabwe forward, what you want at the end of the day is Zimbabwe.
But in terms of current constitution, that's not how the Parliament is structured. Parliament is structured in political parties. That's why there's a chief whip paid more than other MPs to Garepi, in the case of my political party. That's why there's an opposition party, leader of the opposition who's paid more than other opposition MPs. They say our democracy here is guided through political parties. Now you, because your party, when I say you, I don't mean you.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Because your party lost the last elections, you want to have power that we are not given by the people. We say we are not going to give you that power. And we are also putting you on notice. Any changes that we don't like, we are going to change the laws, even in the constitution, if we don't like it. Because that's what happens in a democracy. If the ruling party must be allowed to rule, allow us to rule. If we want a leader ourselves, we are not going to allow the opposition to tell us that now this leader, we don't want him. Now we start putting, now we want Klorisani, he must now be the president. Or we want that guy to be the president. No.
Like one day I'll be one.
Eh? Yeah. We can't have members. We can't have rogue members of ZANU-PF saying that they want Khoisan to be president now, when Khoisan is not even a member of our party.
Well, as we wind down this discussion, Mr. Nguni, do you think CAB will succeed?
It is going to succeed. The dreams of Tendai Biti and Monzora and all opposition and regime change activists are going to come to zero. We are not going to allow members of the opposition and the opposition forces in this country to determine who should be the leader of this country, because they don't have a mandate to do that. The people who have a mandate to determine who should be the president, their representatives are in parliament. We are going to deal with them, each other, in parliament.
Do you think it will come into effect?
Completely.
And do you think it will bring about the change Zimbabwe wants economically, politically, socially? Empower that woman in Zumbunu, empower that woman in Marangu, that woman in Chiredzi, that woman in Gutu, what, 18, where power now resides, by and large.
I don't agree with you when you talk about change, because
improvement.
I talk about improvement. I think that's true.
Living is a change.
Under this president, things have improved. He has
That's
brought
change, you know.
People I don't want to use change, because you abuse the word change. To think you're taking us back to Rhodesia, you call it change.
ZANU-PF is a phobic to word change.
No, to improvement, yes, I agree with you.
ZANU-PF is a phobic to change.
Change, the reason why I don't like the word change personally, I'm not saying ZANU-PF, I'm not speaking for ZANU-PF.
Okay, yes, I understand.
The reason why I don't like the word change myself was you abuse it. I want improvement. I don't want change, because you want to take us back to Rhodesia.
But you changed Robert Mugabe. You changed Robert Mugabe.
I didn't change. I don't want to use the word change. I don't like it.
So you improved on Robert Mugabe and brought in a better person.
By putting in a better president, Mnangagwa.
And how then will we test that? If assuming in ZANU-PF, we have also other better leaders outside Emerson Mnangagwa. How will we test and know?
That is a problem which has nothing to do with those members, citizens of Zimbabwe, not members of ZANU-PF. The leadership of ZANU-PF can only be determined by ZANU-PF members sitting in caucus at any meeting. Next year they are going to have an elective Congress. They are going to choose who is the president of that country. We are not going to farm out that responsibility to the opposition members to tell us that there are other people who should take over. No, it's ZANU-PF voted for Mnangagwa the last time around, and he is the president of ZANU-PF. We are not going to allow the MDC to tell us.
You bring in a very good issue. Next year is supposed to be an elective year for ZANU-PF.
Yes.
So ZANU-PF's constitution has got term limits, I believe. To say the current president...
No, they don't have term limits. ZANU-PF members have got time when there should be elections at Congress. So not term limits, it's different from term limits. And so we can't just go without me explaining the word term that you are using. Mnangagwa is not seeking another term. The constitution is talking about a term. And it says there will be 2 terms.
A term has got five terms, five years.
Yeah. Now, the constitution does not stop Parliament from changing the term of Parliament.
There's a process to that, we agree.
Yeah, and at the process to changing the term of Parliament, we are not changing the term of the president here.
No.
We're changing the election cycle.
No. We are changing the length of a term.
Yeah, sorry. I want...
Because they're ruling from 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Let's all agree.
No.
Changing the length of a term.
A term is
determined by entry and exit. It's a term.
Yeah, but if you want to change the election cycle, the constitution does not say Parliament has no powers to change the election cycle.
Mr. Nguni,
do you agree? There's no clause. No one has ever said it here.
Mr. Nguni, let's agree. A term is on an exit day. And a term is on an entry day, right?
Yes.
A starting day.
Yeah.
Also a sunset day.
Yes.
We agree to that?
Yes.
Every term, be it at work, be it school, there's a sunset day.
Yeah. And
those dates are known from the start to say, I'm running this race for 5 years, ending on the 30th.
But
that's a term.
If the people of Zimbabwe...
No, first and foremost,
I agree with you completely.
Thank you. So meaning that when we want to change, when we want to add even 2 weeks, you're extending the term.
No. Now, that's where I want you to listen carefully now.
What will you be doing?
I gave you the example of COVID.
I gave you the
example of COVID.
You're altering the term.
I gave you I said there were not 3 terms.
Yes.
It was just changed, just like that.
We changed the terms.
Yeah. A term has been explained by ZANU-PF clearly that if we must for a second term of Mnangagwa, it must be it must be, there must be changes to the term, to an extension. The extension must be done before September.
Why?
We are changing the election cycle.
If it was
we are
just a
changing-
normal change in term that has got no effect legally, you would have done it even next year. But because you are running away from, that's what you say, once one serves 3 years, he has already served a
I
term.
like that you are intelligent, you have understood. If you don't like it, you wait the next time there are elections and vote for the opposition and ask them to reverse and go back to that's the way of Democrats.
But yes,
Yes, that's the way of Democrats.
So we
All
are
of you here. That's the way of
so
Democrats.
we are agreeing to say the term of office as it was 5 years.
As it was.
Yes, it was with an entry of the 31st or the 1st of September 2023, ending on the 31st of August 2028. That was a term. You open schools. You open his leadership on the 1st of September 2023. Closes it on the 31st of August.
Like you said, with COVID, if you decide you want to change it, that cycle. No, the Constitution is very silent about changing the election cycle. It doesn't say this term cycle. It says 328 says very clearly about 2 terms for a president.
Yes.
It says that.
Yes.
But
And the terms are known.
Yeah. But it also says if there's an emergency, there can be, if there's an emergency that can be created by government, it can suspend elections, it can do all sorts of things. But we are not doing that.
Yes. What you're doing
but
at the present, you're asking people to say, we're asking the MPs to say, MPs, we want you to stay longer in Parliament. When we are supposed to leave, we're supposed to close schools on the 31st of August. We're not closing schools. So what are we going to do? We are going to extend the term.
Yeah, second term.
Second
term is going to go.
Therefore, the process demands a referendum because you are changing their stay in Parliament.
In the courts, it will be made very clear. A term is decided. A term is 3 years.
Mr.
You understand?
Mr. Monzor, Mr. Nguni, with respect, I'm sorry. Mr. Nguni, parents pay school fees for their children to be at school from 1st of December to the 3rd of January, right? We agree. If there's any change, there has to be an obligation from those who give the mandate for those people in there. So why don't you want to take the same mandate to people who sent you there, the parents who paid the school fees for you to be there? Why do you want that mandate to come from those who are benefiting from it, the children who are benefiting at state school, to say, Daddy, I'm going to stay here, whether you agree or not. No money needed.
When it comes to governance of issues in countries, during the Second World War, there was no democratic elections anywhere in Europe or North America.
Thank God, you're not in a war.
Yeah. And whenever there's an emergency, because of COVID, elections were postponed everywhere. In the world where they were postponed. And now I want to ask this question to you. Do you believe that if somebody kills 20 people, he must also be killed, right? Death penalty. Many people in Zimbabwe think so.
Well, that's a very religious question, I would say.
Yeah, but many people in Zimbabwe believe that.
Yeah, an eye for an eye.
Yeah, an eye for an eye. Many people believe that. We changed it without going back to the people. We changed it without going to the people. We changed when we changed the constitution to allow Mugabe to take executive powers. The powers that we were claiming that he was abusing, we allowed him, and everybody was silent here. We allowed Mugabe to do that through Parliament. Parliament is the only body that represents. When you say the people's representatives, where are they, the people's representatives? Where are the people's representatives? They are found in Parliament.
But those people in Parliament, they are being told to stay longer in Parliament when the sponsors of them being there are not being consulted. That's a big question.
The answer for the people of Zimbabwe and for political organizations is that your political party must come to power, reverse that cycle back to 5 years. You win the elections, then you say, I won't be here for 7 years.
Can that be Zimbabwe, a seesaw-like country?
No. But many countries have done that. We've changed that term from 4 years to 5 years, 5 years to 7 years. We are not the first people in the world to do that, except we are the first people in the world, in Africa, to be attacked where we are, because the opposition is not owned by Zimbabweans. It's owned by people who live in London, who parrot anything. And that is what is wrong with the current opposition. And we will never allow a party that is guided from Europe or from America, that is funded by Europeans to write a constitution for them to rule this country. Majority of Zimbabweans will always vote against it.
Thank you so very much. That was Mr. Goodson Nguni giving us a very interesting perspective regarding CAPE 3. The big takeaway is, if the opposition feels that what ZANU-PF is doing is bad, let them go back and campaign and win power and take back the 5 years from 7 years ZANU-PF wants to take us to. From me, Goodson Nguni, and the crew behind the scene, we are saying thank you so very much. Please continue liking and supporting OZIM News and the sources media. We still love you. Please stay safe and thank you very much.